Well, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this rainy, crazy weather Thursday night here in Texas and wherever you are in the country or in the world? I am Dr. Lauren Pitts, and I want to talk to you tonight about self acceptance. hmm Self acceptance. And as I've said each live, my decision to address certain topics really stems from the themes that I see coming up in my clinical work, but also themes that I see coming up in my personal life or that I'm hearing about or, maybe bearing witness to or whatever the case may be. And self acceptance is a huge one. And I want to spend the next few minutes sort of breaking it down for you and really trying to help you to get a much better understanding of how your rejection of yourself is adversely impacting your relationships, it's adversely impacting the quality of your life, it's adversely impacting your ability to live the life that you say that you want to live and to really experience joy, peace, happiness, and fulfillment the way that you really truly would like to, and I would suggest you deserve to. I was talking to my husband earlier today on the phone, and I told him I was going to steal this because it was golden to me. And I was like, oh my God, babe, that's going to fit into exactly what I'm going to talk to the people about tonight. And he said to me that it was a liberating day for him the day that he realized that there was something wrong with everybody. And even though we laughed and joked about it, that was such a profound statement to me because whether it's my clients or family members or friends or even people that I meet here over here speaking about things at the doctor's office or the grocery store or wherever I am, that I've come to realize that people are constantly comparing themselves to other people. And it's happened probably since the beginning of time. But because we live in the age of technology, because we all have access to the world via social media, it creates space for people to constantly be comparing themselves to other people. But this is how I want to lead into this conversation. And I want you to ask me questions. I want you to text in the chat window, to ask me questions, to pick my brain, to bounce stuff off of me, because I really want these tips, these conversations to be instrumental in helping you to do better and be better and helping your loved ones to do better and be better as we navigate this thing called life together. So here's a couple of Captain Obvious statements that I really want you to think about. There's always, and when I say, people say, don't say always, ever, and never. No, always. There's always going to be someone who looks better than you based on your definition of better. There's always going to be someone who's smarter than you, who has more money than you, who's faster than you, who's more intellectual than you, who has more degrees than you, who drives a fancier car than you do, who lives in a bigger house than you do, who has more money than you have, who has a bigger butt than you do, who has a bigger penis than you do, who has a bigger breast than you do, who has longer hair than you do, who has longer eyelash. That list is infinite. There's always going to be someone that you can compare yourself to that contributes to your ability, the mastery that you have developed in not accepting yourself and being comfortable in your own skin. And I think that it's so important to talk about that because what I'm finding is that I think perfectionism is a curse word. Can I just say that? I'm sick of hearing it. I really am. Everybody wants everything to be perfect. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as perfect. You can be great, you can be excellent, you can be amazing, but newsflash, Disclaimer, public service announcement, we're all flawed. We are all flawed. There's something that each of us has, no matter how extraordinarily great you think you are, no matter how many lies you've told on social media, no matter how much you present to the world that you have it going on, we all have personal deficiencies. We all have areas of our lives where we can grow, where we can develop, where we can heal, and we can be a better version of ourselves. So, what is self acceptance? Self acceptance is your ability to accept yourself, flaws and all. It's your ability to recognize, embrace, and accept your personal traits and your less desirable parts of yourself. And doing that, let me just clear this up. Doing that isn't an excuse to live in mediocrity. It isn't an excuse to just like, it's just how I am, deal with it. No. It's being mature enough, being responsible enough to say, hey, this is a work on for me. This is an area of opportunity for me. This is an area where I can grow and do better and be better so that I am coming forth each day of my life as a stronger, healthier, better version of myself than I was the day before. So people are like, well, Dr. Pitts, what's the difference between self-esteem and self-acceptance? Self-esteem is when you look at yourself comparatively against others. It's how you perceive yourself measuring up against other people. Whereas self-acceptance is, you know what? This is who I am, flaws and all, and I'm going to acknowledge these flaws. Because one of the things, and I think I've said this to you before, one of the things that we say in treatment is the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. We cannot begin to heal what you won't acknowledge is a work on for you. Stop lying to yourself and stop lying to everybody else. I'm gonna tell you something. Total transparent moment. I have no problem being vulnerable and transparent, right? I literally, my entire life, up until maybe 4 years ago, I've had perfectly straight teeth. People thought that I wore braces on 9 yards. Never wore braces. Never wore braces. Can I tell you, this tooth shift right here, crowding happened, one, because of age, and two, because I didn't get a bridge put in when I needed to when I have a tooth pulled. It drives me nuts. But guess what? I don't think that I'm any less beautiful or any less desirable or any less anything else because I have crowded teeth now. What's wrong with it? If you don't like it, fix it. And that's what I'm saying to you. So there's a couple of questions that I want to fire at you that I want you to think about because I need you to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're self-rejecting. So I've already given you the difference between self-esteem and self-acceptance. This is what I need you to know about self-acceptance. It's not conditional. Self-esteem can be conditional based upon the lens that you look at yourself through. Or are you comparing yourself to other people? I was sharing with a client earlier today. I can say this publicly because I ain't tripping. I was sharing with a client earlier today how we were talking about self-esteem and self-worth and what have you. And I was saying how one of my husband's ex-girlfriends, how I always thought that she was extremely beautiful. And she still is. She is a beautiful, beautiful person. She's got the eyes and the complexion and everything. She's just gorgeous. And growing up, I was like, oh my God, she is so pretty. She's so beautiful, that and the other. But I never envied her. I never was hating on her like, oh my gosh, I wish I had her eyes. I wish I had her hair. I wasn't tripping off of that. Because somewhere along the lines, I don't know if it's because of how my parents were or whatever the case may be, but I was thankful for the skin that I was born in. And that's what I'm saying to you. What is so hard about looking in the mirror and seeing the goodness in you, seeing your natural beauty, seeing, whether you have on makeup or you don't, whether you have natural hair or processed hair or short hair or long hair or whatever the case may be? What are you doing with what you have? Can I just tell you that constantly comparing yourself to other people is extremely unattractive. And I would even say, and I don't mean this to be insensitive, but I think it's kind of pitiful. I think it's kind of pitiful to spend so much time and energy exhausting yourself, comparing yourself to other people. Well, I mean, he his other girlfriend, I mean, she looks better than me. Then how come he ain't with her? Obviously, because there's more to making a relationship work than looks, because you do know natural beauty is fleeting. Hello. You know how many beautiful people are in the world and their heart is ugly? Treat you like a dog. Fine as all outdoors. Fine as all outdoors. Evangeline said, I've always admired you, such a beautiful woman inside and out. I love you, Miss Lauren. I love you too, Evangeline. Thank you. Here's the thing, total transparency. I haven't always been beautiful inside. I had to work on that. I used to be ugly inside. And you know why I was ugly inside? Because I was the walking wounded. I looked the way that I look outside, but I was dying on the inside, which was adversely impacting my behavior, which made people see what they may have labeled as physical beauty, but I was ugly. I was so ugly. Self-pity, low self-esteem, low self-worth, self-rejection is not attractive. You have to be willing to surround yourself with people that affirm who you are holistically. But so oftentimes what people do is they surround themselves with people that validate the low opinion that they have of themselves. Hence why so many people end up in one broken, dysfunctional, abusive relationship after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. That's what happened to me in my earlier years. I found myself in a couple of relationships where, because I was the walking wounded, I was subjecting myself to and tolerating behavior that validated the low opinion that I had of myself. And it wasn't until I got honest and was able to say that out loud that, you know what? I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. And if I could just be further transparent with you, I hid behind my looks for a lot of years. I was telling my husband earlier today that it was this funky balance growing up throughout my life. I had endless numbers of people that were constantly affirming my physical beauty based on their opinion. But I had just as many people who had negative things to say to me about my physical appearance. I had Coke bottle glasses. My ears were too little. Why is my nose so big? My lips are so thick. Why am I so short? Your butt's too big. You're disproportionate. You know, your shape is disproportionate. Well, and then if you want to go beyond looks, I supposedly talked white and I acted white, and to hear some tell it, I wanted to be white. So I don't want anyone to think for a moment that I don't know what it feels like to be judged, criticized, ridiculed, bullied, because I do. I can't tell you what was going on in my head that was instrumental in helping me to not internalize that. Some would say it was just because I thought I was cute. And maybe I did. Maybe I did think I was cute. But I honestly believe that it's more than that. There was just something in me, even with all of the trauma that I had, even with the adversities that I was experiencing that literally were shattering my sense of self. There was something in me that made me know that I did not have to internalize that and accept the negative things that people were saying to me and about me. I didn't have to internalize those things as my truth. And that's what I'm saying to you. Why did you decide? Because it was a choice. You had a choice. Why did you decide to internalize and accept the lies that people were telling you about yourself and allow it to become your truth? Are you now at this place and space in your life engaging in self-sabotage? Are you perhaps with an intimate partner or in a friend group where people genuinely and sincerely love you and care about you and see your inner beauty and your external beauty, but because you don't see yourself as internally beautiful and because you don't see yourself as externally beautiful, you engage in all types of behaviors that default to people treating you in a way that validates the low opinion that you have of yourself. And I know it sounds like, because of the language that I'm using, that I'm speaking to women only. I'm not. I'm talking to everybody, because there's plenty of men out here who aren't self-accepting too. There are plenty of men out here that think that they have to have a six pack, or that they have to be X inches tall, or that they have to be hung like a horse, or that they have to have, a certain type of athletic ability or a certain job, and all of these things. And none of these things validate you. None of these things speak to who you are at your core. They're superficial. And they don't get to define you unless you say that they should. Do you have a fear of rejection? Do you have a fear of abandonment? I had this crazy metaphor come to me today. I was in session speaking with a client that isn't struggling with self-acceptance or self-esteem issues. And it came to me like this, that there are so many people out here that are self-rejecting, and they're looking for love in all of the wrong places. They're looking to someone to validate them and to affirm them. And that's just like a homeless person rummaging through trash cans, looking for food to eat, and then consuming food from the trash can, and then getting sick to the stomach, or having diarrhea, or having parasites, or whatever the case may be. That's the equivalent of people who are looking for others to validate them. They're looking for the people in their lives to rectify their mommy issues and their daddy issues and their broken heart issues from previous relationships. They're looking for someone, anybody, please be my relationship doctor. Please heal all of my wounds. And certainly our relationships can be a healing agent, but it is not fair to put all of the pressure on any one human being in your life to heal your wounds. Learning how to love yourself, learning how to accept yourself is going to require self-work. It is going to require each of you as individuals to be truly committed to doing the psychological and the spiritual self-work that needs to be done to help you to be a stronger, healthier, better, self-accepting you. When you make the decision to do that, when you make the decision to stop wallowing in self-pity, when you make the decision to stop comparing yourself to Kim Kardashian or Halle Berry or whoever the heck, whoever these influencers are on social media or on, Basketball Wives and the Real Wives of this and the Real Wives of that and Vixen this and Vixen that. Are you kidding me? You know how, can I just go here? My husband tells me all the time, babe, do you know how much money people have spent on plastic surgery trying to get what God has blessed you with naturally? Really? Plastic surgery, though? See, why? Why do you think having a bigger butt, bigger breast, thicker lips, smaller breasts, a bigger penis, thicker thighs, taller. Why do you think all of this is somehow going to miraculously make you feel better about yourself? It's all fake. So you'd about to be the bionic man or the bionic woman. I know that's an old show, dating myself. But you about to be walking plastic, trying to be someone that you're not. And guess what? Now you got the pain from surgery. And don't let it mess around and be botched. Do you watch that show? The plastic surgery botch shows? I don't even know what they're called because I don't do reality TV. But I know there's one on because I've seen the advertisement for it. Why is it so hard for you to take the necessary steps to do the self work so that you can learn to be comfortable in your own skin? Help me to understand why. It takes courage. It takes an exorbitant amount of courage to be comfortable in your own skin. But I believe that you're worth it. I'm trying to figure out why you don't see yourself as worth it. I'm trying to figure out why you're expending all of this energy binge watching reality TV, spending money trying to be like somebody else. You got your snuffle up, your eyelashes going on, you got your eyebrows and everything tattooed on, you got your weave down. And I've worn weave before, so I ain't tripping. But I wasn't passing it off as my own hair either. You got your weave down the street, you dudes is all, you cut and ripped and the whole 9 yards. You got eating disorders because you're trying to be. What's wrong with putting healthy measures in place and the things that you don't like about yourself, you actually work on them? You don't like your weight? Push back from the table. But you don't have to push back from the table to the degree that you develop an eating disorder. What's your Achilles heel? Mine is sugar. I'd like to have a flatter stomach, but guess what? I don't. You know why? Because I won't lay off the sugar. I don't know what to tell you. I cook, I bake, I eat. So my stomach looks like I cook, I bake, and I eat. If I really wanted a flat stomach, I would have one, but I really don't. But guess what? I'm also not comparing myself to other people. So why are you? If there's something that you genuinely and sincerely don't like about yourself, why don't you take the necessary steps to start improving you in healthy, positive, and productive ways? There are psychological benefits to self-acceptance. One of the things that you've heard me say, not just on live, but on my podcast as well, is that I'm more free today than I have ever been in my whole entire life. That is definitely one of the psychological benefits of self-acceptance. You will experience a level of freedom that probably surpasses any level of freedom that you have ever experienced in your life. You'll stop being a scaredy cat. Everybody's scared of everything. Remember I said last week, everybody's throwing these, throwing the clinical terminology around. Everybody's anxious. Everybody's anxious. Everybody's they're anxious. They're fearful. They're stressed. They're triggered. But what are you doing about it? Are you surrounding yourself with people that reinforce those clinically what we call those maladaptive behaviors? Or are you surrounding yourself with people that can breathe life into you? Are you expending your time and energy legitimately working to better yourself? There's freedom in that. There's freedom in being comfortable in your own skin. And you'll hear me say time and time and time and time again, unapologetically. Getting to a place and space in your life deliberately and intentionally where you are free, unapologetically. You know what you owe the world? You owe the world the same thing that you owe yourself. and that is to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can be. It's going to take work, but you're worth it. You have to be willing to put in the work. Stop looking for a microwave fix to your personal deficiencies. Do the necessary work to address those issues, and it'll increase your ability to take calculated risks. Dr. Pitts, I'm scared. Do it scared. I think I've shared with you before, but just for illustration purposes, I'm going to share it with you one more time as I get ready to wrap up. You're in your comfort zone. And in your comfort zone, just envision a circle. And that's your comfort zone. And in there is depression and anxiety and resentment and bitterness and hatred and self-loathing and fill in the blank. You know all of the negative feelings that you have on any given day. You know all of the adverse experiences that you're going through on any given day. Problem at home, problem at work, everything. Just, Dr. Pitts, everything is just getting on my nerves. It's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. And the perimeter of your uncomfortable comfort zone is fear and anxiety. Beyond that is infinite opportunity for more and different and better. Your past does not get to keep defining your present and your future unless you decide that it should. It's okay. Fear is like a weed. It is going to come up at every opportunity, but I've created this acronym, right? Fear, false evidence appearing real. Go afraid. Go afraid. Do it anyway. You are worth taking calculated and strategic risks to experience more and different and better. You can't just keep saying that you want to do it. You have to do it. We used to say back in the day, don't talk about it, be about it. That's what I'm saying to you. Well, Dr. Pitts, what if I fail? Failure is feedback. It's not really failure. Failure is feedback. And that feedback tells you maybe not this way. Maybe recharge your steps. Maybe connect with people, what I call partners in believing. Align yourself with people that can be instrumental in helping you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Get a life coach. Get a mentor. Get a sponsor. Stop being the smartest person in the room. I said that to you last week. Surround yourself with people that have more, do more, want more, and can achieve more than you do, and humble yourself enough to learn from them so that you can live more authentically and start living for yourself and not for others. As you continue to do that, you will notice that your self-worth is increasing. You will notice that you have the ability to extend some grace to yourself and be more compassionate to yourself and less critical. And guess what? Disclaimer, you're going to miss the mark sometime. It's okay. Oh my God, Dr. Pitts, I don't want to be embarrassed. We've all been embarrassed. Stop tripping. Learn how to normalize some things. Know that life has ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys, and there are things that we are going to go through that they only get to break you if you think that they should. If you decided to. You know how many times I've fallen flat on my face? But the reason why I've fallen flat on my face is because I dared to step outside of the discomfort of my uncomfortable comfort zone. You can't fall if you don't try. Or as my grandfather used to say, you will never win a race that you don't enter. Enter the darn race. And if you trip and fall, get up. Dust yourself off, get a Band-Aid, and keep it pushing. You'll develop more independence and autonomy when you learn how to love and accept yourself. You'll be able to take control of your own life. I said to somebody yesterday, learn how to blueprint your life. You want to know what that means and how to do that? Shoot me an email. I'll tell you how to do it. Because if you don't, see, we about to go into the new year. If you don't learn how to blueprint your life, 2024 going to look just like 2023 because you're not taking charge of your life. What is it, 525,625 minutes or something like that? Or in the 365-day year. And if you don't take the time to blueprint your life and to put some systems and measures in place and write the vision and make it plain, 2024 going to look just like 2023. You get to take charge, but you're expending so much time and energy comparing yourself to everything and everybody else. You stuck. You don't need the approval of others. You don't. You've convinced yourself that you do. But you know what my daddy told me a long time ago? He said, baby, stop letting folk judge you and criticize you that haven't even attempted to do a quarter of what you've tried to do. Who are they to judge you and criticize you? Who are they to tell you what you can't have, what you can't do, what you can't be, and oh, it don't take all that? Why would you allow others to do that? Why are you giving so much of your power and control to other people? Stop it. Let's work on increasing our self-acceptance for the remainder of this year and going into 2024. Let's expend energy increasing our sense of self. Let's expend energy being honest about what our personal deficiencies are and learning how to address them so that we can get out of our own way. Let's grow and heal and do better and be better moving forward. You're worth it. Merry Christmas. I'm not going to tell you Happy New Year yet because I'll see you next Thursday. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. And for those of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. For those of you that don't, have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. Good night.